What's going on? It's your friend and your guy and your favorite muscular senpai, Gardiner, the Linux gamer. So today we're gonna follow up what I did on Friday, which was the if you didn't see it, it was a nice little video. I did it about is Epic Storefront gonna ruin PC gaming? So these are the 5 reasons that Epic Store is going to save PC gaming. The first reason is that, well, Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, has been a super harsh critic of Windows 10. Windows 10 is, just an abomination. It's basically an extortion racket in the package of an operating system. And basically, Tim Sweeney has no reservations calling Microsoft out on their nonsense. Many times throughout 2017 and 2018, he has said that Windows 10 is ransomware. He said that they're attempting to crush Steam and force people to use the Windows Store instead, on multiple occasions. And there are a lot of other things that he said, too, about Windows 10 that are not very kind. Honestly, he's right, because Microsoft's approach here has been to close down what was an open platform in the same way that Steam is open, right? And, the fact is, it's only a matter of time until Windows is completely closed down and you're not allowed to install any software from outside of a place where Microsoft gets a share of the revenue. That's not a joke. That's not, conspiracy theory. That's fact. They've already tried doing it with Windows 10s. They already are, building up the infrastructure to lock down and disable executables that don't come from Microsoft. As under the guise of security is what they're doing this under, and it's no good. It's not good for you. It's not good for video games. It's not good for software in general. It's only good for Microsoft, and that's why they're doing it, because they don't care about anything else but themselves. So when I read the article that came out, the press release from Epic that said the Epic Store will open up more broadly to Android and other open platforms throughout 2019, what I hear there is Linux. Well, maybe he could be talking about Haiku. No, he's talking about Linux. There are no other open platforms. I mean, there really aren't. None that are commercially viable. And it would be crazy for them to not support Linux. Linux is an investment in the future because at some point, within the next couple, 3 to 5 years, I think that the default for PC is going to be Linux. It's just gonna be the default because Microsoft is doing horrible things, locking down their software and treating their the people that develop for them with contempt, and it's not sustainable. Microsoft's going to lose this battle, and we are going to win. So that's number 5. The fact that Tim Sweeney is a huge critic of Microsoft, and that it looks like that maybe we would get the Epic Store in 2019 on Linux. So that's one way that the Epic Store is going to save PC gaming. Because imagine if Epic starts getting in on the Proton game, because honestly, there's no reason for them not to get into Proton. Proton is a fantastic technology that is open source, and it wouldn't make sense to not include something like Proton, to work together as 2 industry leaders to build something like Proton together. I just think that's what needs to happen. So, let me know what you think down below. Let's go on to number 4. Better revenue splits with developers. Now, this is a big deal because since time immemorial, Valve has done the 70-30 revenue split. I think that was what it was when they started Steam to begin with. And to preempt Epic's announcement, they ended up changing their revenue model. I think it was something like if your game makes $10 million or more, then you would see a 5% increase in your revenue split. So you would be getting 75% and Valve would be taking 25%. And then if your game makes $50 million or more, you'll get an additional 5%. So you would be taking 80 and Valve would be taking 20. But the problem is that Epic's revenue split is 12%. So even if your game makes $50 million on Steam, you'd be making 8% more by selling your game on Epic Storefront, even if you didn't reach that, 10 or $50 million threshold. And really, that kind of shows where Valve's head is at, and it's a disappointing position that they've taken. They don't seem to, it seems a little detached from reality. It seems like I watched this clip of Bill Gates on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and she had him try and say, how much does this cost? And he's like, $15. He doesn't know. And that's the kind of thing that Valve's at right now. Valve doesn't know what things actually cost in the real world. They're living on the revenue from Steam. It's insane. Now the issue is, right, is Valve, in order to compete here, they're going to have to, like I said in the podcast, there's going to be an arms race. Who can go the lowest? And Valve has been used to the 70-30 split, and honestly, it's going to be difficult for them because they're going to have to get down to at least 12, if not 10 or lower. And if you're cutting your revenue share, your revenue income by 66%, which if you're going from 30% to 10%, that's 66%. You've cut your revenue into by 2/3 at that point. What's that going to look like for Valve? How are they going to manage? I don't know. But I think that this is a good thing for developers. I think this is a good thing for everyone who's not on Steam. I think this is a good thing for everyone who is on Steam, because that means that there's going to be more incentive and more reward for good games. And that's awesome. Number 3, it's not exclusive to the PC. So this is really interesting. The fact that Epic Storefront is going to be available on Android as well as on PC and Mac, and hopefully Linux sometime in 2019. Now, really, the only note that I have here is we'll see how long Google goes before they lock down Android completely. I mean, the fact that you can install APKs outside of the Google Play Store, I feel like that its days are numbered, because Google wants money, and that's what all these companies want. They want to have a platform that's a walled garden that they can control. They can crush innovation. They can end competition and make as much money as they possibly can, because they don't want some of the money. They don't want a lot of the money. They want all the money. And if they can't get all the money, then they're not happy, and they'll do everything they can to get all the money. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so so the fact that Epic is actually bringing their storefront to Android is really cool, because it'll be cutting into Google's revenue, and I think that's a good thing, because Google sucks and nobody likes Google. Number 2, finally, someone will hold Valve accountable for allowing trash to flood the Steam storefront. Now, some people get their panties in a twist when I talk about this, but to be honest, I don't care, because it's the truth, and I'm not afraid to say it. The Steam store is full of garbage and filth and trash, and it really has harmed developers on the platform who actually spend time and money and resources and years of their lives building a game, only to have it disappear in a sea of trash. So many developers I've heard say that basically they're done releasing their games on Steam because they can't get their game found. Valve's terrible algorithmic curation is a joke. Algorithmic curation is a complete and utter farce to begin with. If it's YouTube, if it's Steam, if it's whatever, it's a joke, and it sucks. The fact is, most of these developers are going over to Switch, or they're going over to PlayStation, because nobody on Valve's end is doing anything to actually foster discoverability, foster tools that allow developers to be found and their games to be played. And I think that the fact that Valve is now going to have competition from Epic, who is signaling that they're going to actually curate their marketplace, I think that's good, because it's going to actually hold Valve accountable, and it's going to put their feet to the fire and make them actually do something rather than just sit back. And that brings me to my last point. Finally, someone will hold Valve accountable for resting on their Steam laurels. Don't get me wrong, Steam is great. I love big picture mode. I love the controller management features. And I love the fact that Valve have been pushing for Linux gaming for 3 or 4 years now. 4 or 5 years now, actually. I love that. That's great. They've done great work in some areas with Steam. But they also stopped publishing games. And really, that's what we loved about Valve. The fact that they have got away from making video games and got into the business of making money from selling video games, it really has diminished their brand. And it really has tarnished their reputation. The fact that they haven't delivered an episode 3 or a number 3 of any of their games goes to show that they, what they care about is making more money. Because if they made, Half-Life 3, they'd make some money, but they wouldn't make as much money as they were doing with Steam. Sorry. That's just a fact. So the fact that now, what Valve offer is not the only game in town, I think that that's a good thing, because it's going to make them actually buckle down. And I know that they are making games, okay? I know that they're making games, they're making hardware, they're doing other things. But, they should have been doing this a long time ago. They really should have. For Epic to come in and be like, hey guys, hey other game developers who are fed up with the crap that's going on Steam, come over here and check out what we got. We got 8 million Fortnite players. They've all got this storefront installed on their PC. Come get some of this pie. We're going to share it with you. Valve, really need to buckle down and make changes that significantly and positively impact gamers and game developers. And I think that this is going to actually do it. I really do. I'm very optimistic about this. Now, let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you take exception with any of these points that I made? Let me know, because I really want to hear what you have to say. Just real quick, we're still doing signups for this giveaway. So if you head over to the forums, forum.heavyelement.io, you can find a link to the giveaway form. But I think that's going to do it for now. So if you believe in the work that I do, you can support the show with a monthly contribution over on Patreon. You can also pick up a t-shirt if you'd like. teespring.com/thelinuxgamer. I think there's a link down below. But no matter what you do, whether you hit that like button or share this video with your friends, don't forget to subscribe to see more from me, the Linux Gamer. And as always, thanks for watching.